by Dr. Kunle Kakanfo, I think we will allow enough people to join. But I have a breaking news for you. So the breaking news is that, as you can see on our flyer, we have 3 speakers, but today you are going to be experiencing only 2 speakers. The person who actually called for this open session, who happens to be Dr. Kunle Kakanfo, is unavoidably absent due to the exigencies of work. The time now is 7 p.m. West African time, but it's going to be 2 p.m. East Central Time or something, EST. And he had a meeting that will be running over. He shared his calendar with me. It was unfortunate that he could not control it. He couldn't. But we felt that 120 people have already registered. It would be unfair for us to call today meetings off when it was 2 p.m. Nigerian time. That was just 5 minutes to the meeting. Imagine the 32 people that we'll have conversation with today. Let's assume myself and Malik is not part of the 30 people that we're reaching. We are going to be having conversation with 30 fresh people, and I think it's worth it, and it's worth us to hold a meeting. So we are going to be hearing from me, and you're going to be hearing from Abdul Malik. So although we've heard this session before, but we don't mind having this conversation again to refresh our memory and to reignite the passion. So that's how it's going to be. And this is how the agenda is going to go. We have been doing introduction. Thank you, everyone that has dropped their information. Excellent. I can see Dr. Olukemi Olugbade dropping a LinkedIn. So this is going to be a hub for connection. So if you can drop it on your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn link, I think it will help you to connect with other professionals that are going to be on this call. You need to watch out for everybody that is on this call because they are going somewhere to happen. So thank you so much for doing that. I can see Dr. Chiamaka Uwalaka, my friend, all the way from Lagos. You're welcome to the call. So we've done welcome and introduction. As you're coming in, please drop your name, the sector in which you play, the state you're joining from, and if you can add your LinkedIn link so that other professionals can connect with you along the line. Excellent. I can see Samuel Adilaja, great one. And I think one of the things I can also do is to compile the links of our LinkedIn and then circulate to us via email so they can get connect. So we are building a professional network of people that are going somewhere to happen. So now I'm going to be the person that will take us through the first session. I'm going to be reflecting on the things that have helped professionals to hack the global job market. So that's what I'm going to be focusing my attention on. The things that have helped professionals to hack the global job market. I have 3 things. If you are ready, if you have your writing pad, if your attention is not diluted, put in the chat box 1. If you know you are very attentive and ready for this session, type in the chat box 1. If you are not ready and you are still looking for your writing pad, type 2. But if you are ready, type 1. I can see them. Yes, yes, yes. Until I have 10 ones, I will not start. Oh my goodness. Somebody is getting ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be starting with a story. I'm going to be starting with a story. Excellent. I'm sure I've said this story very well many times, and I don't want you to be bored with the story. Yes, I can see that I'm recording. Excellent. So sometimes in 2010 or 2011, in 2010 and 2011, I just secured a job with a national NGO, one of the biggest indigenous NGOs in Nigeria. And I had my paycheck. My paycheck was under, my annual paycheck was under 3M. But I was going through the newspaper after work one day, and I saw a job advert from Globalcom. And when I saw the job advert from Globalcom, I think they were advertising for a position and the position was going to be paid 24 million US, no, 24 million naira, not US dollars. Dollars is too much in my mouth these days. And when I saw the adverts, they now put a caveat. They said, if you're not currently earning 18 million per annum, do not bother to apply. And that was why I called my friend that guy has been in the banking sector. In fact, he was working in Access Bank HQ at that time, and he's been there since 2006. And this was 2010 or 2011. And then I asked him, I said, I saw something on the newspaper that I saw a job they were advertising, and they were going to pay 25 million or 24 million naira. And that they said, if you're not currently earning 80 million, do not apply. And then the guy told me, yes, now. He said, that's Nigeria for you. That in fact, he can tell me that there's people that even had 60 million. I said, it's not possible. And that was where the transformation started. You know, I was rejoicing for my first job, which I loved, which I had prayed, which I felt was a breakout from poverty for me. And then here I am, just coming back from work, and I saw a job that was ready to pay somebody who has maybe an MSc IT 24 million naira. Oh my goodness. And that was how the journey began. So I now found out that, okay, I now began to look for what is that thing that separates somebody who earns a 60,000 per month from somebody who earns 600,000 per month, from someone who earns 6 million per month, from someone who earns 6,000 US dollars per month. I began to ask myself, what is the difference between these people? Because you find out that most of the time, people with the same qualification, with the same quality of education, are at different strata in life. But today, I'm hoping to be able to tell you some of the things I've been able to uncover since my research that started in 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, I applied for a technical advisor position with an international organization. You know, I apply normally, I just like applying. And then when I applied for this position, I didn't have an idea of what was coming to me. It was when I got to the interview that I knew that, because, so the first thing they did was to send me a practical test. They wanted me to solve this stuff between Friday and submit on Sunday. And then I'll have a phone conversation on Monday. Then after phone conversation, then we can do a Zoom conversation. So they sent me the practical test. It was a set of data and some questions. I was to analyze, put it on PowerPoint, and then answer some questions, make some inferences, and then send it to them. And then I did it casually. And then I think I had to travel to Abuja for something in 2017 or something. And then we got on to the phone interview with this white HR lady. And then we're talking. After we were done with the conversation, and then they now asked me that how much was I willing to was I willing to take if offered this position. And then I think this is going to answer some people's question. I know somebody asked, how do you negotiate salary? So the first thing I did was, okay, thank you so much. I know this is a technical advisor position that is going to be oversee like 4 countries, right? So I'm going to be overseeing 4 West African countries, which require me to maybe travel every now and then at some point work remotely. And then I told them, based on the responsibility of the job, I said I would actually love to know what they have on their budget for that position before I continue with my conversation. In my head, I was thinking of telling them that I wanted 24 million that I saw inside the newspaper in 2011. And that was when the white lady broke the news to me. She said, okay, yeah, for the order of this position, what we're thinking is between an 85,000 to to 100,000 US dollars per annum. Eh? That was how I froze. At that time, I don't know, I can't recall how much the exchange rate was. But I must tell you that I was shocked to my marrow. So I didn't proceed in that conversation, but I was happy because I was invited for a job that was going to pay me foreign currency while I stayed in Nigeria. Fast forward to 2022. 2022 also, I applied for a job on LinkedIn. So if you set your jobs portion of LinkedIn, you can get some jobs of interest that you have preset in the. Let me see. I think I need to stop some of this video. I need to spotlight my video, right? Spotlight my video for everyone so that people don't see. Excellent, great. Let me stop the videos. So, and that was how I applied for that job on LinkedIn. And then I began this interview process with these individuals. So I think it required first a phone interview, then a Zoom interview, then another Teams interview, all those things. So the first level of interview, I scaled to the second level of interview. It was at the third level of interview that they were asking me how much was in for that position. So they confirmed to me that I actually asked for 250,000 US dollars per annum. And then they told me, okay, yeah, that they will have loved to match my offer of 250,000 US dollars. But what they have on the budget is about 225,000 US dollars. And I was like, wow. Eventually, I found out that there are a lot of people that are working internationally that are earning very well. And in the previous edition of this that I've held, I brought two of my colleagues that earn so well to come and speak to us and share with us their secrets. And what I've learned are these three practical tips. The first one is that you need to prepare. You need to start preparing early whenever you apply for any job. So somebody said, when you prepare very well, you are planning to succeed. When you start early, you save time. For example, the job that I took before this particular job that I'm currently on, I started preparing immediately I submitted my job application. Why? Because I had an inkling that I ticked all the boxes and I was going to be called for an interview. And so what did I do? I made sure that I prepared so well. So the secret is that it is not the best candidate that gets the job, it's the most prepared candidate. I kid you not. When I got to that interview, I saw people that I respected so much. But I was not intimidated because I was overly prepared. My preparation dated to about 6 months because when I applied for that job, it took about 6 months before I was invited for that interview. But by that time, I was 6 months prepared for that job interview. So if there's a job that you think you are qualified for, either internationally or locally, the secret to landing that job is to start preparing early. When you prepare early, you save enough time. You build courage and confidence. When you are well prepared, nothing takes you unaware. When you are very, very prepared, you go with the confidence of somebody that is hiring for a position. So that is one tip I'm going to drop with everyone. Somebody said, give me 6 hours to cut down a tree. He said, I will use 3 hours to sharpen my knife. So when you prepare, you are sharpening your knife for that tree that you're about to cut. So the first thing that we all need to embrace is to be prepared. Last week or 2 weeks, I think it was last week, when one of our resource person was speaking to us, he talked to us about, while he was still in the university, how he would buy the economics magazine and he'll be asking himself, what are the requirements for them hiring an accountant? And that was when he knew that it was impossible for him to join the UN system without having a master's. So that my friend went ahead to have a master's. One of the things that reading the economics did to him was that it broadened his horizon. He became a very good writer. He shared with us how he wrote articles and essays, and he was able to get sponsored for some conferences outside the country. Another thing that you need to know is that your cover letter, the way you write your cover letter actually stands you out from the pack. If you are talking about international jobs that have maybe like 1,000 applications, your ability to write so well and have a good communication with the person that is shortlisting or with the software that is shortlisting is pivotal to your success. So part of your preparation is to learn how to write, learn how to communicate, not only verbally, but also in written form. Write excellent letters, write excellent cover letter. So preparation is key. Preparation is king. Preparation is the way to success when it comes to acing the job interview. Very recently, just like I told you about my experience, some of the things that I do also in my preparation, I think I will reveal to you. Um, I will reveal to you in my subsequent points. So the second thing, apart from or in addition to preparation, when you have an opportunity to go for an interview, you need to be well prepared. You need to prepare every way that you can prepare. But I'm going to add on that as I round off my session. But you need to build a strong profile for yourself. You know, when they have a long list, one of the things that will stand you out is this: how solid your profile will be. How solid is your profile compared to other people that are coming for that particular position? How can you develop a strong profile? By taking certifications and courses. So it is not enough for you to tell people that I'm a very, very, very good data analyst. What certification do you have to prove that you're a good data analyst? So the second thing is that which professional membership are you part of? Where are you a member of? Where are you a fellow in? Those things help you to develop strong profile. People in accounting, they are chartered accountants. They are a member of the maybe Chartered Association of Nigeria. People that are evaluators, maybe they are member of the American Evaluation Society. People that are public health practitioner, they are a fellow of the Royal Society of Public Health, or they are people that are management consultants. They are a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. So the question I'm asking you is that which professional association do you belong to? You remember that when we're in university, or for people that are still in university, when they are introducing your professor, they will tell you that your professor is a member of member of the American Society or something. Member. So those profile, those membership um those membership affiliation helps to boost your profile. It helps to see you in a particular light. Then you need to optimize your LinkedIn page. So there are a lot of free webinars, there are a lot of YouTube communications or YouTube sessions that teaches you how you can come up with a very, very, very inspiring, a very, very professional LinkedIn page. If you go to some people's LinkedIn page, you will know that something is just different about the page, because the way they itemize their skills, the way they crafted the summary of what they can offer, the way they are able to communicate the value that they carry. So you need to take courses and be certified, if not local, if not internationally, at least locally. You need to join professional associations and belong to professional bodies. Then you need to optimize your LinkedIn page. The easiest thing is for you to check other people's LinkedIn page and pattern your own. People that you think are doing better than you, look at how their LinkedIn page looks like, and then pattern your own LinkedIn page in that format. Or you take some crash courses on YouTube on how to optimize your LinkedIn page. Then you need to be able to show that you're a good communicator. Every position requires somebody that can communicate the vision of the organization or the role. So one of the ways in which you can communicate, or you can tell people that you're a good communicator, is if you have published articles or you have written essays. Do you have a blog? Do you have articles that you have written inside newspapers? Do you have articles that have been published in reputable websites? Do you have articles or manuscripts that have been published by peer-reviewed journals? Those things help you in building a strong profile. This is not exhaustive. These are the things I could scribble down that I think will help you to build a strong profile. Because when it is time for them to shortlist and they have a long list, They want to see the profile of the person where, for example, one of our resource person last week was at the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Nigeria, and the guy has just landed a position in Brussels, in Belgium. And there's this 50-something-year-old man who raised up his head and was wondering, how can this man that is less than 40 at that time land this diplomatic position as a financial controller in P5? The man said, who do you know? As in, the man was questioning and querying him. And then, what have you done with your life? As in, what have you done? What have you achieved? And then the young man, okay, thank you so much, sir. Well, prior to this offer that I just got, I was a director of finance on operation in Tanzania, covering maybe like 5 or 7 countries. And then I think before that time also, he was director of finance on operation somewhere in Mali. So even beyond being a Nigerian and working in Nigeria, this young man has been director of operation in big organizations in Mali and in Tanzania. And then by the time the man heard those things, oh, the man calmed down. Wow, you have already done director in 2 different countries, even before you clock 40. So that is what profile building can do for you. It can silence your critic. It can help you to stand out amongst a lot of people that are considering when you have a very strong profile. The first point that I share with you, I want somebody to remind me before I go to the last point, but I'm going to share with you something in the last point. So, ladies and gentlemen, I shared 2 points now up on this time. My first point was what? If you remember, please put it in the chat. Let me remember. Remind me now. The first point I shared with you on how practical tips to stand up and land an international position. The first one I shared with you. I want to be sure that you're following me. Excellent. Start early. Okay. Somebody says start preparation early. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Joel, Samuel, and Kenneth. So the second point is what we have here. You need to develop a strong profile for yourself. And the last but not the least tonight, before we listen to the second speaker and the second session, is that you need to research and rehearse. So the first one is to prepare. Second one is to build a strong profile. And the third one I'm going to leave with you tonight is that always have your answers to the typical interview questions. Research those. So there are typical interview questions that no matter the kind of interview that you find yourself in, most of the time they will ask you to tell us about yourself. Most of the time they will ask you, why are you the best candidate for this job? Those 2 questions alone, if you answer them very well. An HR professional told me in 2010 that most of the time they know the best and the right candidate within the first 2 minutes of an interview. If you master and deliver very well, tell us about yourself and why are you the best candidate for this job? You have won that job. So what you should do, what is your responsibility, is to ensure that you have your well-crafted answers to the typical job interviews, which are, so I want us to all supply the typical job interviews that you are very familiar with. I know I've mentioned 2 of them. Tell us about yourself. The second one I've mentioned is, why do you think you're the best candidate for the job? For everybody on this call, can you drop some of the typical interview questions that you have come across while you were trying to look for a job? Some interview questions that have been very common every time you appear for an interview. I know you to take some time to type, so just type it and drop it. Some typical interview questions. You need to have the best answer for them. So while we are seeing them, why should we hire you? Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Itunu. So you need to have answers to all these things. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Yes. Brilliant. Amazing. I love this. Those are questions that they ask you. There are some tricky questions I'm still looking forward to. Okay. Somebody have asked it already. Yes. Excellent. Somebody said, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So, ladies and gentlemen, you need to look for the correct answers that is customized to you for these particular questions, this set of questions. But I am happy to let you know that we have a lot of resources that you can use to prepare. See, I'm sharing with you a YouTube channel by this amazing lady. I know this, her name is Madeleine. Yeah, Madeleine. Yeah. So the title of that YouTube page is Self-Made Millionaire. In this place, you have a lot of structured. She's an HR professional that has been featured in Forbes, Harvard Business Review, and the rest. It was my mentor that shared this with me. If you sit down with this particular YouTube channel and you 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 get yourself familiar with all the things she's going to expose you to, she will give you tricks and templates on how to answer these typical interview questions. Ladies and gentlemen, you you are going to land your next job. I'm telling you, free of charge. You need to get down this YouTube channel, and after this session, while you are preparing for any interview, listen to as many of the videos as possible. She has answers or typical answers to most common interview questions. Um, she will give you templates on how to solve the top 5 interview questions. Don't just research and have answers to these questions. Know a lot about the organization you are going into. If it is possible, know so much about the interviewers. Because most of the time when they are inviting you for an interview, if it is a virtual interview and there's a calendar invite, you might see the name of the people that will be on the panel. Go to LinkedIn, go to Google, search out these people and look at what their interest. So that when you are answering those questions, you are eating something that is interesting everybody in the panel, that member of the panel. When you do that, you are going to score an emotional point. And do you know what? Apart from the fact that it is not the best candidate that gets the job, it's the most prepared. Another thing is that it is the most memorable. Imagine if you showed and then your conversation with them was very memorable. They will find it difficult to recover from the encounter they have with you. How can you make it memorable? Tell them stories. Refer them to examples of when you did what you were telling them that you did, maybe in your previous organization or your personal capacity. Let them have something to go home with. Don't just give them generic answer to those questions that everybody will give to them. Cite your unique examples that matches the job role, that matches the job application, that matches the job's vacancy announcement. All those things so that you don't just look like somebody that is answering questions. You look like somebody that is a fit, the best fit for the candidate they are looking for. So ensure that you prepare early. Don't wait for when you receive invitation. The moment you send your application, start preparing. Even if they don't call you, another one or another interview, another organization will invite you, and that your preparation will not be a waste for that new invitation. Secondly, I also share with us that I'm trying to, yeah, okay, excellent. Yeah, I'm going to share the link after. Yeah. So apart from early preparation, excellent, great. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all the good points that you have shared with us. So I promised I was going to also share something with us, which is going to be the last thing. So apart from the fact that you have researched and you have answers to your typical interview question and you have prepared so well for your interview, one thing you need to do also is to seek opinion of others. So we call it peer review. So the fact that you have answered the question to the best of your ability does not cut it. If you have a circle of friends, a circle of professional, you can share your draft answers with them so that they can also give you additional input, so that you can go to the interview not just with your own wisdom, but with shared wisdom of other professionals. So don't just prepare alone. ensure that you research and then rehearse your preparation. Share your preparation or your script with others so that they can give you inputs, so that can make your own response to be stronger when you show before an interview. So those are the things I want to share with us before we move on to the next session. So after the next session, we are going to be having a lot of question and answer. So if you have any question, if you are not writing it down, you can drop it in the chat. When we come to the question and answer session, we will be able to take it. But that is the end of the first session, which is from me. Now I move on to our next speaker. And the next speaker is somebody that some of us already know, and I'm going to introduce him before yielding the mic to him. He's joining us all the way from Malawi. So Abdulmalik Abubakar blessed us last week, and we are looking forward again for a summary of some of the things he shared with us last week to be shared today. So he has over 10 years of experience in international development and in public health. Malik has worked with USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. He worked previously in Nigeria, and currently he works in Malawi. And also is a LinkedIn top strategic communications voice. I'm privileged once more within the last 12 days to have Malik share with us some of the things that he has applied that has helped him to be able to land an international role with USAID in Malawi. Malik, you have the floor. Thank you and welcome to the mic.
Thank you so much. Please confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. I'm trying to let them see you. Excellent. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here once again. So, as Benga has shared a lot about his experience, so I'm just going to share some of my experience with you all. I prefer interactive sessions and we interact. So I will be brief with my conversation because I believe Benga has covered a lot. So I'm going to summarize what I'm going to speak here in 3 key items. One of them, education, certification, courses, that's 1. 2, information, aspiration, action. And the last one is so the first I mentioned, and the last I mentioned, is not in the order of priority at all. God, for me, God is the most important. But I'm going to take it in that order. So the first one, I shared my story in the last session, just to say that I am from a very humble background. I'm not family, but one thing that I got early enough was passion. I had a lot of passion. I discovered what I wanted to do at an early stage. One of the challenges a lot of people have is they are not sure what they want to do. Someone said, knowing what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck, because most of the time, people are not sure what they want. With a lot of young people starting their career or trying to start a career, and they say things like, I just want a job. It doesn't matter where, how, what industry, what skill level is required. I just need a job. And some other people will say, I just want a job with a good pay. Those are very, very wrong approaches, to be honest. Like, you need to be very sure what you want. You need to, because being sure yourself in a particular line. That is not to say that you can't be agile. That is not to say that you are going to put yourself in a particular box. So let me give a quick rundown of my career. So I started doing research assistant jobs after secondary school. And through those jobs, research assistants, for those who are not, just to explain it, basically working as an interviewer in research studies. So I started in market research, where you go to households to interview them about different products and services. It can be telecom, it can be about elections, it can be on different topics. So that was how I started. And through that, I stumbled on, or I heard from someone about the USA Global Health Learning Platform, and I started taking courses there. Um, and that was how I started learning more about M&E, because being a research assistant is more correlated with monitoring and evaluation. So that was how I started taking courses in monitoring and evaluation. And that was basically how I started. I also did like data entry role. One of the places I later worked, Mexico, the first interaction I had in Mexico was when I did a data entry job during my NYSC. It to me working there full time few years later. I think it was 3 years after I did data entry job at Mexico that I got a job in Mexico. But all those experiences actually became part of my, like, I can't isolate my achievement today without talking about these experiences, because I prepared me for where I am today. So I also see one of the mistake a lot of people make is they don't want to start small. They don't want to start small. They don't want to. They want to start big. They want to start with a big salary. So please don't be deceived by the things Benga is saying. Things like, oh, someone is earning 60 million and all that. We are too focused on people's results. We don't know their processes. When you see somebody that is great, you should be more interested in their process than their results, because results can be misleading. Like, it's highly misleading, because if you don't know people's process, you might be underestimating what it takes, for what it took for them to get to where they are. So that is why it is very, very critical. So to my three teams, right? Along the line, I was now learning a lot about monitoring and evaluation, data quality, data analysis. And this global health learning platform I'm talking about, it's actually free. It's a USA platform, I think in collaboration with John Hopkins. So they have a lot of courses there. And beyond the fact that the course gives you a lot of information, a lot of knowledge and all that, and it gives certification. But those insights it gives, it makes you it makes you more informed than someone that has not. My background is business administration. So I remember in school we always call ourselves managers. We call ourselves, like, we aspire to work in banks and different sectors. But because I had this research assistant background, even while I was in the university, I was still doing research assistant jobs. So it helped me to pivot early, to think differently from the way my mates in the university were thinking about working in the bank or without experience, right? Because you studied business administration, you feel it is a given that you should become a manager, but it doesn't work like that. So when along the line, I got into the NGO sector after a couple of years as research assistant. The good thing about what the research assistant did for me was after NYSC, I have gotten a we do in Nigeria. I've gotten a lot of experience as a research assistant, and I've gotten a good knowledge of monitoring and evaluation. So that means that I was not at par with my fellow youth corpers, right? The people that I did the National Youth Service with, we were not at par because I've gotten a lot of experiences. I've done a lot of courses. Meanwhile, a lot of them are just fresh out of school. They've not done anything of the most of them, right? So I was able to, after NYC, I continued the research assistant role, but now it was on a higher level where I was participating on national surveys like the National HIV/AIDS Prevalence Survey in 2012. I was part of it. I was part of, for those in the health sector, they will understand better. There was an integrated biobehavioral surveillance survey I was part of. I was a supervisor on that. Because of my experience, I was able to supervise even people that were in the medical field, like people that were medical doctors. But because I've had a long experience as a research assistant, I was able to supervise those people that were lab scientists and the likes. So that is what it does for you. You start small, but it's a pedestal for you to go somewhere. But just to share that I started working as a research assistant, not even the same research assistant job with, but we didn't have similar trajectory. That was why I mentioned those three teams. Now, while I was taking those courses, one thing about me is I share a lot. I don't keep resources from people in my network. Even jobs I want to apply for, I share it with my friends and colleagues because I feel like if I don't get it and someone that I know gets the job, then it's a win-win, right? At least someone within my network is growing, my network is expanding. That is my approach to it. So I was taking those courses. I share those courses with people, but I realized out of 10 people that I share the courses with, maybe only one or two will take them. So that is to tell you that, like, you need to put in the work, you need to put in the effort. So I was doing those certification. The last time I shared, when I took an inventory the last time, I have done over 60 courses in the past couple of years, let's say in the past 10 years, even the certification. So I started taking certification as well. While I was working in Mexico, they pay a lot of emphasis on a course called PMD Pro, Project Management for Development Professionals. Usually they get trainers to train people and then you sit for the exam. But what I did is I went online, looked for a free course to prepare for the certification and took the certification without waiting for a general organize that training and the certification. I was the only one that did it on my own because it was open as a staff. When you go into the platform, you can actually order for your exam. The organization will already pay for it. So it was open. That was how I did mine. I took my exam. I was invigilated by a colleague and I passed and I got certified. Now, the interesting thing is I got my PMD Pro, and within 2 months, I got another. Didn't done that. Probably today I wouldn't have that PMD Pro, but I was proactive to do that. Now, on certification again, in 2020, late 2020, in December, I and some group of friends decided we want to get a PMP. PMP is Project Management Professional by Project Management Institute in the United States. It's one of the most prestigious project management certification in the world. And not many people are certified. The last time I checked, there are less than, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, we can. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the last time I checked, there are less than 2 million people that have PMP all over the world. There are less than 2 million people. And PMP is it's relevant in almost all professions, regardless of your profession, it's relevant. My preparation process. Also, while I was working on my master's in development studies. When I joined USAID, I did my master's in international public health. So, mind you, Mercy Corps, where I was working, was an education project, also on humanitarian program, livelihood program. And with that experience, USAID, that is 100% public health. It has nothing to do with education per se. USAID as an organization, of course, does education and different programs, but I applied for a job in health. Now, one of the mistakes a lot of people make is they box themselves to one particular sector to say, oh, I belong to the health sector, so I only apply for jobs in health, or I belong to the humanitarian sector or education. Like a generalist in such a way that you can function in different sector, right? You can easily fit in basically because opportunities will not always resonate with your sector. So as I sit here today, I don't, because I have been able to acquire experiences across different areas, I don't box myself to a particular area. And one thing I noticed too is, like a lot of people that I follow on LinkedIn closely as well, one of my connection that has 4 master's degree, and I noticed he has done masters in different program areas, MBA, development, health economics, and the likes. The idea is it gives you that general overview, right? And one thing you need to know is as you go higher in your career, you are not relevant as a specialist. You are more relevant as a generalist. And that is why as a project manager, you are not hired to be a project manager because of your technical expertise alone. You are expected to give overall oversight on the project. You are expected to manage the budget of the project. You are expected to manage all the different spectrum of project management, basically. So if you're only skilled at monitoring and evaluation, that might be a disadvantage for you. If you're only skilled at program implementation, it might be a disadvantage. You need to, our trainer used to say in PMP that you need to be a mile wide and an inch deep. What it means is that you need to be vast, but you don't need to go deep, very deep in any particular area. That way you can have oversight, and that way you can be more agile. You can be more flexible, basically. Then the other second point I wanted to talk about is information. If there is one thing that people that know me know is I aspire a lot. I don't settle for less. I aspire a lot. In fact, I see people that in quote anyway, I see people that I'm higher than, or maybe I'm doing better than professionally, that are way better than me. That is my assessment. They are way better than me technically, maybe in qualifications and the likes, but probably their aspiration doesn't align with their qualification and expertise. So one of the biggest challenges, you need to aspire. Like someone said that your dream, like when you reflect on your dream, you should be afraid. Like you should say, this is too much, is impossible, basically. Because it is only those people that are crazy enough to think of impossibilities that are changing the world. Now, if 10 years ago somebody tells you there will be something like ChatGPT today, you might say, no, that is impossible. But like you can see how inventions are coming. You can see how companies are disrupting how we live, basically. Look at the model of businesses like Airbnb. You basically rent a stranger's house, go there and spend the weekend or spend the vacation, right? Same for Uber and Taxify, Bolt, and and others. You are entering a stranger's vehicle basically to take you to where you want to go. That's because somebody has been business model. So you need to apply the same to your life. What are your aspirations? If your aspiration doesn't scare you, it means that you are thinking too small, you are thinking too little, right? But beyond aspiration, action is the most important. A lot of us, and that is why you see that a lot of two people can have the same information, but they will have two different outcomes because one might take action. A lot of people don't. This is what differentiates the great from the little. The great people take action. They take action. And beyond taking action, the timing of action is also very important. It's not just about taking action. You shouldn't procrastinate so much that you take action very late. For example, I don't know if it has happened to any of you. It has happened to me a couple of times. You saw a job, you say, this job, I think I fit perfectly to this job. But because of procrastination, when you say you want to look at the job again, maybe after a couple of days or weeks, the deadline has passed. So that is what procrastination does. Probably the person that will get that job is not even as qualified as you. So you need to take action, but you need to take timely action. That is very, very critical. Okay, let me share that my my so I applied for a job to USAID, and USAID takes a long time, right, to go through their recruitment process. I applied for a job with USAID. I applied for another job at Oxfam. I got the job at Oxfam, went through all the processes, resumed. The day I resumed at Oxfam was the day USAID invited me for an interview. Just imagine that. I got the job, and I resumed 8 months after. 8 months after I was invited for an interview. So you can imagine. But if I had relaxed that, why should I even go through a recruitment process where I'm just resuming a new job? I won't be where I am today. So taking action is critical. Not settling for less is very, very important. Like always aspire, but your aspiration should match your action. The problem we have in the world today is our aspirations and actions are very, very far apart from each other. And that is why you see people try to take a lot of shortcuts. Like there is no shortcuts. You need to go through the process. Because if you take a shortcut, there is every likelihood that your success will not last. And that is why, you need to understand that greatness is not a plot. It's a personality. Someone said, if you take all the money in the world and share it equally among everybody in the world, the same people who are rich right now will be the ones that will become rich eventually. It's funny, right? Because being rich is not a bank balance. It's who you are. It's something you become. So becoming great is not is not a title. It is something that you become, basically. So you can have millions in your account, but you are not a millionaire. And that is why you see that there are people that have become rich, but they went bankrupt because they are not millionaires. I don't know if you guys have heard about people that win lottery. There are studies that show that people that win lottery, they go broke within 5 years. That's because they've won lottery, they won a lot of money. Yes, because being a millionaire is a personality. Is not about the money in your bank account at all. So it's something, but the good thing about personality is that it's something that you can build, it's something that you can learn, it's something that you can work towards, right? So you need to work towards who you want to become. There is someone I listen to almost every day. His name is Jim Rohn. You can check him on YouTube. I'll type the name on the chat. So Jim Rohn says something all the time. You need to learn to work more on yourself than on your job. And someone said that if you work 8 hours a day and you get home and you feel you are too tired to work on your goals, you are not tired, you are just not motivated enough and you are not disciplined. So you can't work 8 hours working on someone else's goal, and then you feel you are too tired to work on your person. So you need to look at those things. There are people that have been working for 10 years, they don't have a master's degree, they don't have any significant qualification, but they will say, I am aspiring to become ABC. Your aspiration and your actions are not aligning. You need to align them accordingly. You need to, I remember a few years ago how I used to go on LinkedIn to check people's profile. And then I basically stalk people and look at the people that that I check. What are the courses they take? What are the things they do? What is their career journey basically? And I try to take action in that line. LinkedIn is one of the places where you can get a lot of inspiration because it's basically millions of CVs available to you free of charge. You are not paying to access them. You can see the CV of almost all the professionals you can think about on LinkedIn. You don't pay you need to make use of it a lot. It's a free resource. It's free. So that is one of the places I draw a lot of inspiration. If so, the question is, if you spend too much time on Instagram than LinkedIn, for example, right? You spend more time on Instagram than LinkedIn. How does Instagram connect to your career goals, for example? How does Facebook connect to your career goals? So that means something does not align somewhere. If you spend most times on Instagram scrolling all day, what value does it add to your career goals? So you need to that line so that you spend time on what adds more value, right? So that you spend time on what adds value. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go on Instagram or Facebook, but think about the things that add the most value to you, right? Sometimes it takes 1 to 2 hours to apply for certain jobs, and you say you don't have the time, but you don't miss Arsenal matches, you don't miss Man City, Real Madrid. Like, how does it align to your goal? Like I said, I'm a fan. I'm even putting on an Arsenal jersey, but I will not choose Arsenal match over an important job I want to apply for. I will not do that. So that is something you need to know. And you can say that how does watching football affect my application? It does. Everything affects everything. Like everything is connected. The time you dedicate to, for example, you go and watch football and they lose, you are already emotionally down. You think you can give the best to applying for that job, or you think you can do something meaningful after that. So like it has already affected your momentum, and that is how you can miss opportunities just because you feel, no, it doesn't do any harm. It does actually. So information, aspiration, action. Check the profile of great people all over the world. We celebrate Ngozi Okonjo, DG of WTO, World Trade Organization. Go and check her profile. She has a PhD from MIT. She went to Harvard. Check those profiles. Those guys didn't wake up. So they didn't just wake up. They are not just from a rich family or they had privileges. No, they worked for it. I get very pissed off when people say, oh, this person has achieved this because they are lucky. I don't know about that, to be honest. What is luck is when opportunity meets preparation. I don't believe in luck, to be honest. I don't believe in is you know we are in a society today where people will talk about unmerited favor, talk about I didn't apply for the job, but I was given an offer, or I was called for an interview for a job I didn't apply for. So, but we need to pay attention to hard work. It's very important. You need to learn what is relevant. Blinded, don't follow your passion blindly. What is relevant today? We are in the world of AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain. What is relevant today? Like a lot of jobs will go obsolete because of AI. Think about, I remember the first time I went to the Netherlands, how their processes is totally different. Even till today, we've not gotten to that. As of 2018, Nigeria has not gotten to that stage. But definitely, as the world evolves, we pick, they have a machine that basically gives you your body. You scan your passport and gives you your boarding pass. It means that the person that his livelihood is depending on giving people boarding passes, checking people in, that person's job is under threat. We have AI note takers today. Some people are professional note takers. We have translators, professional translators. As I'm speaking with you, I'm with my phone, my Samsung phone can actually translate live when I'm speaking to someone else. I can say that is what AI is doing. So you need to go with the flow of events. How can these things change the way you do things? How can you leverage it? How are you leveraging? I was in a meeting the other time and somebody was saying, I am hearing AI. What is this AI about? Like, if you're asking that question, there's something wrong with you. You should be talking about how you can use AI to optimize. Today, like, I supported someone to apply for a master the she got the course she applied for, she got scholarship. All I did was I used generative AI to assist the application process. People are so you are no longer competing with me or another human being. You are competing with AI. So you need to be strategic in your approach. I believe I've said a lot, and I saw Gbenga is here now. So thank you so much. I believe we have many questions. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Malik. Wow, amazing. Wow, thank you so much. Um, Even though some people were asking for your previous session, but I think you've done justice to this session by all the things that you have touched on. Thank you so much. So let me see, let me bring up, even before now we are going to the question and answer session. So you have listened to diverse perspective on the things we can do, how we can actually uh, be highly competitive and land the job of our dream. It talked about drawing inspiration from LinkedIn, where so that means a lot of people do that. I do that a lot. I'll just go people that I'm looking forward to or people that I'm looking up to. I'll just look at their profile. What what are the things that they have done? How did they capture their experiences? What are the courses they are doing? So what are the courses they are doing? So another thing that we also need to know is that we need to invest in ourselves. Apart from we mentioned about building your profile, you need to invest in yourself. Those are some of the things that we learned from ourselves since last week. That you need to invest in yourself, pay for courses, do pay courses, um, pay for a coach to train you on something. I remember Arume talking about how he got how he got um, how he got a loan to pay for somebody to teach him how to use the SAP. So now somebody is asking about AI. Have you attended any webinar on AI? Have you read up on AI? How can you use AI to do the work that you do better? And then he talked about draw inspiration from Jim Rohn. So the summary of his conversation is about how information can your aspiration and your action. Everything needs to align. So you can't be thinking and wishing something and be doing the opposite. Everything affects everything because everything is connected. Thank you so much for that. Amazing. I can see people saying thank you to Mr. Abdul Malik, Adeza, who is a thank you. Okay, I can see yes. Kemba Balisa saying thank you. Fetia Adebodo say thank you. I'm joining them to say thank you so much. So there are a couple of questions that I feel that people have sent in even before. But if you have a question, you can raise up your hand. So what we're going to do is that because some people dropped some questions before this session, I'm going to read some of the questions so that myself or Malik will answer them. Then we'll take people that raise up their hand. So I'm looking at Adiola Rajiv was the first person to raise up her hand. So how many other person who wants to raise up their hand before I go to the written questions that I have? Okay, great. So I know Adela is the first, so whoever comes on now. So the question that they've asked, so I think I touched on this while I was speaking. Somebody said, "How do we negotiate salary?" I touched on that, but if Malik wants to speak further, I think he is free to touch on that. So another question that came is that what are the available skills needed to survive abroad? Malik has been in Malawi for a while now. So he said, what are the available skills needed to survive abroad in a do-it-yourself society? So I can tell you for free that when you are interviewing for a job that is outside your country, they will ask you a question. You will need to tell them how you have related with people that are not from your culture, people that are not from um, your states, people that are not from your country. You need to be able to convince the panelists how you have been able um, to survive that. So it's a skill that is needed. You need to have cultural intelligence. You need to be able to have good interpersonal relationship skill. You need to have respect for other people's culture and other people's ways of doing things. So I think Malik, we touched on that. The available skills that are needed to survive abroad. You need to have and develop cultural intelligence. Then another thing is that how can I leverage LinkedIn to get global opportunities like jobs, like consultancy, and access to quality networks? So I mentioned when I was speaking about you being able to look and understand other people's LinkedIn profile. Then also you can attend webinars and trainings on how to optimize your LinkedIn. I remember attending one of those trainings by one school that I've done a program with, and then as part of their career activation session, they taught us how to maximize and activate our LinkedIn for global. That was where I knew that there is a job section of LinkedIn that you can actually activate. When you activate the job section, it will ask you the sector you are interested in, the state, the zip code of the location where you want to look for job, and every singular day, every evening, they will give me a lot of jobs that come up from that particular client, and it's now left to you to apply for those jobs if you think that you so that even some jobs that you don't need to, it won't take your time. It's easy apply. Once you just apply for those jobs, maybe like 5 or 4 columns, just upload your CV, and if you get shortlisted, then you're lucky. Yeah, but I think Malik, you might want to touch on negotiation for salary, skills needed to survive abroad, like how you have been surviving in Malawi, how you can leverage your LinkedIn. But I can see you are already telling us that you can actually subscribe for um, premium LinkedIn package, where maybe you can use a new because I know that one is very expensive. It's about $20 per month. So over to you, Malik.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not for LinkedIn Premium actually.
Okay, okay, okay.
Um, I think I've only paid a couple of times for LinkedIn Premium. But one thing that happens is if you are active on LinkedIn, LinkedIn also gives you premium a couple of times. I think
Okay.
I've gotten premium for free more than 5 times.
Wow. Uh-uh.
If you're active, they give you premium every other time.
Okay.
So a couple of things for salary negotiation. What I always do is I don't give a particular figure. I usually ask whether they have a range, right? And the jobs that make it easy for you is the one where the salary is already on the advert, right? So on the advert, if the salary is already there, and to be honest, sometimes not like everybody likes money, but my approach to money is it's what you do with money that is more important than the money. It's not the money that is the most important. So if you find a job, especially if it's local, that is giving you significantly higher than what you earn, maybe times two or more, like you don't have a very strong justification to negotiate. When I say that, I mean if, for example, you are not very high cost of living and all that. The reason I say that is because if they request for your salary, your pay slip, for example, then and they see that you are earning significantly less, you don't have any strong justification to negotiate. But if it is open that you can negotiate, I would always say, always, even when they send you an offer, like write to them to say, can you adjust this
Am I the one frozen or Malik? It's network. Okay, I think it's Malik's network. Okay, great.
give those strong justification that that doesn't just make it look like you just want a higher salary for the sake of having it, right? And then you can give reasons like your qualification, your expertise, your experience that you bring on board. So that is for the salary. For settling in a new country, one of the strong things that are very important is networking. So even within your network already, they can, because when I was coming to Malawi, people within my network already started connecting me to people that are in Nigeria, like Nigerians that are living in Malawi, working professionally, like people in the UN, people even within the same space in the health sector and all that. So it helps you because those people give you information and guide you basically. But one thing that is very important is don't go to any place where you ignore the locals, the people from that country. It is very important that you also build rapport with people from that country because there are lots of things that they know better. They know like how you can get around easily, where you can get things more affordable and all that. So they have those information. You also need it. So that I would say will be my quick tip for you to for people that are interested in relocating. Yeah. I don't know. Did I miss any other question, Benga?
No, you didn't miss it. I think you covered all the three aspects of the question. So now we have people raising up their hands. Adiola Raji, do you still want to speak? I saw your hand first before Israel, before Ibrahim. I think we can take the three people.
Okay, thank you so much, Malik and Benga. It's really been an helpful session. So my question is actually for Malik, and this is regarding being a specialist and a generalist. Okay, so as the technical advisor, how do you think someone without debt will be able to function effectively in that position compared to being a generalist?
Okay.
Malik, do you want us to back it and you respond to the three?
Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent,
That's
great.
fine.
So thank you so much, Adiola. So Israel.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Mr.
Yeah.
Malik. Good evening, sir. So, it's still regarding the health specialist and the generalist. This question is always going to Mr. Malik. I think he made mention of during his career, he made mention that he basically based on uh, 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 projects like livelihood, education, and before you know it, he was able to switch to public health and the rest. So I find it confusing because I think there's a gap. A gap in the sense that are there more things that you do because your professional your expertise actually lies in education and livelihood. All of a sudden you're able to switch to public health. So I'm just thinking that connection, something that you don't have any idea of, but you're able to just switch, So that's where my challenge is like. And because I know Dr. Binga for a while now, I've been following I've been receiving your links on a lot of research that I've been doing. And basically it has been on public health, all your research has been on public health. And, for you to switch to livelihood or switch to education, I don't know, I'm just thinking that maybe there could be a gap or something else that we can do. Okay. That's my question.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Israel, I think that's very clear. So Malik is going to respond to that after we get Ibrahim's question. Then I will add also. Ibrahim, please, you have the microphone.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Benga, for the opportunity. Please confirm you can hear me, please.
Loud and clear. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Malik, for the elaborate presentation. My question is regarding what you presented on salary negotiations. There are some school of thought that because I was in a situation where I got a position as a state coordinator for one state in Nutrition International. So when the offer came, of course, because it was in my own location, so I felt that was something to consider compared to where I was, which had a very high cost of living and everything. So the salary they were kind of presenting was less than what I was even currently earning then. But one, for the position, two, for what it entails, because it's a new area in nutrition, that is MMS, I felt it's something I should have, even if I sacrifice it, it will be an advantage for me subsequently because people's attention now mostly are turning towards that transition from iron and folic acid supplementation to MMS. So I considered going for the job, but I still said, let me negotiate at least before I now accept the offer. So, once I sent my feedback that, okay, I appreciate the offer and everything, but I'm requesting for an upward review and everything. So to them, that HR system, I was surprised that became my disadvantage because they gave me the feedback. On the long run, since that first mail, they said they had an impression about me that something like that. So I didn't get they declined they withdrew the offer kind of. So when I requested for a feedback was that when I shouldn't have kind of requested for a review. It showed that I'm after the money or everything. But I said, sir, but it's conventional to negotiate an offer before accepting. So please, can you elaborate something about that? And then the second is also related to this. when you said if one is asked during interview as to what he wants to be paid, you know, some will tell you that you should ask them if they have a range. Some will say that is also a bad idea. You give a political answer. If you have an insight on what the position is likely going to pay, you give a range. Some will say no, give a range. Some will say ask them what the range, if they have a range. Some will say no, just say you are not after money, you are after the what you will contribute. So it appears there is no single answer to that particular. Everybody has the kind of a school of thought. So I don't know if you can also elaborate on that, because I find it confusing. I've been in several interviews and I've not used a single format. I've always maybe assessed the situation at the present time sometimes, except if, like you said, they have advertised the package in the advert. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. So I can see that we have interesting participants who love to iron out the issue of money. I think you are in a safe hand. Apart from the fact that Malik is a development expert, I think he has some economics background. And so, Malik, please, I think you should take a stab at those. I think Adiola first. Adiola about journalists and specialists, as technical advisor, then the money guys. Yeah, all right. Yeah, your no, I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry,
Okay.
I've unmuted. So thank you very much for your questions. Interesting questions. So generalist versus specialist, right? I'll start with saying that one of the challenge I see a lot, right? And from my story, my journey to becoming a generalist was when I was working at USAID, and within the first 6 months, a team of 5 became a team of 1, basically. Like it became only me, right? And it meant that I needed to learn everything about the program, basically. But if it was a full team, then I'll focus on supporting one or two technical areas. But because it became a bigger team, like it became just me, I need to learn about all the program areas, and there are so many program areas. So that's basically broadened my experience and expertise across the program area. Now I can tell you that I work in a team now where for the past 4 years, we've only had one person left 2 years ago. So it means that a lot of people on my team are focused on supporting 1 or 2 technical areas, and they don't even know what the next person is doing. And we are on the same team, right? So what I'm saying in essence is that within a particular niche, okay, for example, I do monitoring and evaluation. Within monitoring and evaluation, there are people that look at results framework. There are people that look at AME plans, M&E plans, basically. There are people that do data visualization, data analysis, data science, data engineers, people that work with like big data and all that. So these different things I've outlined requires different skill sets. So what I'm saying in essence is that at least you need to learn a bit about everything, basically, because you don't want a situation where you get to that high position of being a team lead or something and you don't know anything that certain member of your team is doing. That means they can tell you this particular task is going to take 2 weeks when it's supposed to take 3 days. But because you don't have enough knowledge, you just accept it the way it is. Also, I do research, so I do everything basically. And because I have that expertise, I don't relax and say, no, I was only hired to do this. So that becomes like your selling point, right? That you can backstop almost anybody or everybody. So it becomes your own selling point. It becomes your core competence, basically. So that, for me, is the case for being a generalist. It doesn't mean that every single thing you are going to have a shallow knowledge. That is not what I'm saying at all. It means that you can still go in depth in some technical areas, but you will not be naive about any area. You still have knowledge, general knowledge on different areas. So I hope I was able to respond to that. Then there is another part that someone was saying, how do you pivot from livelihood education to other areas? So don't get it wrong, please. It is not applicable to everybody. It is not applicable to everybody. Some jobs are more, they are more general in nature. Let me use that term. For example, somebody that is a finance officer, auditor, and all that, that person should not bother about whether I am an auditor for a financial public health project or a livelihood or education project. Similarly, monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation, you shouldn't say all I can do is public health or livelihood or education, because the principles are similar. You just need to learn to adapt to how things work in a different context. That is why I said, for me, I am in monitoring and evaluation, so it's easy, right? But for somebody that is like a project manager, let me not use project manager. You are a program officer for, let's say, for a health program, and that is all you've done in your life. It doesn't mean you can't pivot to another program area if that interests you and you started learning some things about that program area. Because for me to pivot, it means that I have some level of knowledge in public health. So the courses I was taking, I told you guys, before I even got into the full-time job, they were all around health. The Global Health Learning Platform, all the courses there are about health. So I already had a lot of knowledge on public health. Though I was not doing public health full time, I already had knowledge and some level of expertise. So that is just what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying in essence is, when you box yourself to a particular sector, you limit yourself and you limit opportunities that you can actually go for, basically. Then for the salary guy, one thing that you should know is this. I remember when I joined USAID, I was arrogant enough to ask them, why do you think I should join USAID? Like, what is special about USAID? Yes, it's USAID. We all know, everybody say USAID, you are donating money here and there. There's USAID logo almost everywhere you go. But why should I join USAID? What is special? What is unique, right? So what I'm saying is that you are trying to get a job, but that organization is also in dire need of somebody to fill that position. Though you see it that you might be seeing it that you getting that job is a favor for you, but it's actually a symbiotic relationship. So, like, I wanted to give that background before I go to the salary thing. One thing you should know is that, like, you shouldn't, that is why I said it before, that money is not everything. The reason why we talk about money all the time is because you can easily quantify that $5 is more than $1. You can quantify $100 is more than $50. But you cannot quantify job satisfaction easily because you can't see it easily. And that is why you need to use different tools. There is a platform called Glassdoor where you can go and check organization and check reviews of that organization. You might be the one that is applying, but that organization might not be fit for you. It might not be fit for you because it's a toxic environment. So if you apply for a job and you negotiate salary, and for that reason they feel that you like money too much and you are not qualified, it means that that organization is not even good enough for you. That is my personal opinion. I might be wrong, because it's a two-way thing, right? You do your job and get paid. I remember I was checking the highest paid CEO in Nigeria as of 2021 at some point. Somebody was earning over 900 million a human being like you and I, right? But of course, different level of expertise and experience. So it shouldn't, like, nobody should say that you are requesting for what you are requesting when you have a particular value. That is why within the same organization you have somebody earning 2 million per annum and you have somebody earning 100 million per annum, because the value they bring to the workplace is different. So nobody should make you feel like you are wrong for negotiating for salary. It's actually your right. So like approach, there is no universal approach to negotiating salaries. Sometimes you also look at the body language of the people you are interacting with, and that is why background check is very, very important. It cannot be overemphasized. Before you even, as you are applying for a job, in fact, before you apply for a job, you need to understand it's not, you don't just see a job and say, oh, this is higher than my job, or the salary is higher, and you apply. What is the organization's vision? What are the experiences of the people within the organization? That should form part of why you are applying for the job, not just because the job was bigger or is bigger than yours or the salary is higher. You understand? So those things are very important. Some organizations, unfortunately, are highly unprofessional. Sorry to use that word. For example, you apply for a job, you do interview, and you don't hear any feedback. That should should make you know that organization is unprofessional. For you to do an interview and you don't get any feedback for 2 years, like forever, you don't get feedback. That's unprofessional, obviously. So not every organization is fit to have you. So you need to place a value on yourself to start with, so that you know that not every organization is deserving of you. So don't regret that you were trying to negotiate for a salary that is even lower than what you are earning, and they are making it look like, why are you putting money first? Like, your passion is not going to pay your bills. So don't even feel bad about it at all. Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for those brilliant responses to those questions. Thank you. I think I was able to recap some of the things that jumped out to me. Most of us, we behave like job seekers, whereas we should start thinking like problem solvers. So, because that's one of the things that shifted my mindset. Every organization, so you don't wonder that some organization, they will first do a recruitment. They will not see somebody to fill up the position. Maybe they didn't get the suitable candidate, or maybe somebody rejected their offer. They will now reapply again. So it's because they have a staffing problem. So when you're approaching them like somebody who has a solution to that staffing problem, and not just a mere job seeker. So thank you so much. I think that was aptly responded to. You must have actually answered all the questions that they asked. I saw somebody and Adeza, but before that time, I think I have 2 more questions from the chat. So from what we've discussing so far, how to unlock your global career, I think you should be able to piece out some things together. For example, ensure you have a broad network, follow people on LinkedIn, be visible on LinkedIn, build a strong profile. That will actually give you a response to unlocking your global career. And then Malik was encouraging us to be active, that even when you're active, they will offer you premium LinkedIn package, which can actually make you to be more visible anytime they offer you and you activate the premium LinkedIn. So he said, somebody was asking that what are the steps you are taking to be at the climax of a profession? Well, Malik talked about the formation. We have heard before about knowledge, about continuous and never-ending improvement. So you remember last week, for people that were there, about a particular one of our speakers who is already working as a P5 level in a UN system in Brussels, and he told us that he was already enrolled for a doctorate degree in University of Geneva, where we'll be paying 35,000 euros. So, and the question is, You're already at the peak of your career. You're a financial controller. Why are you spending 35,000 euros again? But it made us understand that you are what you know. So the steps that people take, even when they are at the climax of their career, is continuous and never any improvement. They never stop improving. They never stop growing. Never stop learning. So then another thing is that say, please, how do I fill up gap years on our CVs? For example, if I haven't worked professionally in like 6 months or a year, what do I say? For my experience, what some people do is to they attribute to the fact that maybe they're on a study leave. Some people they will look for a program to complete within that period. That can be a good response to you when you appear for an interview, when you have your next offer. But I know that Malik can actually add to that. But before Malik adds to that, let's listen to Adeza. Who is it? Malik. So hold your thought. Let Adeza speak. Then you now add to everything. Those two issues on filling the gap in CV, activating the global career, and then the steps you take at the climax of a profession, which I've spoken to some of them. So Adeza, please say Adeza Oize. Ask your
All right.
question and then you get a response. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Benga and Mr. Malik. Am I being heard?
Loud and clear, loud and crystal clear. Yeah.
All right. I really appreciate this what we have here, and I hope it's going to continue. My question is this: I'm someone that has always been in the HIV space as a public health practitioner. However, over the years, I've been wanting to um, look into other areas apart from service delivery to MIE. So, and I've been trying to pick up some MIE courses and trying to see, because the world is changing. Especially the world is now data driven. So we are looking at that. I'm looking forward to dabble into other areas that I can be uh, relevant, so to say, in other program areas, nutrition, malaria, and what have you. So I'm looking for a more general area where I can actually build my strength and capacity, not limiting myself to a particular program area. So I would just like a quick advice on things to do to get right so I can be on the right track. I know that you have said a lot about this, but I think coming from my own background, I think maybe you can chip in one or two for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Adeza, for those questions. So Malik, please take it away. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Adeza. So you said you want to pivot from service delivery to M&E, and what can you do? So I would say, someone said if you read a book about swimming for 2 years and you jump into the pool afterwards, you will drown, right? So you can take courses, that's great, but what can you do within where you currently work to learn more about M&E, but learning by doing, right? So it can be how you can interact more with the people in M&E, try to learn how to use certain tools. It could be spending some extra time, like, right, supporting them, like maybe with analysis, learning data visualization. So it's no longer just what you want to do, but what you are doing, right? So that way, you can even now put those things in your CV that this is what I do, no longer what I want to do. And one thing that is very critical about job application, I tell people, is tailoring. Always tailor your CV. Always tailor your CV. If, for example, you are a program officer, M&E, and let's say you are a program officer doing M&E, but on your CV, you have program officer, and you are applying for a job of M&E manager. The person shortlisting sees a program officer. There is every likelihood that you will not be shortlisted. Though your job title or your roles and achievements is in M&E. Why? Because there are so many constraints. Like when there was some years ago when I was leaving Oxfam and I supported in shortlisting my replacements, I knew that shortlisting is a very tough job. And if you are not smart, you can spend weeks looking at CVs, right? So the idea is your CV should be tailored so that you don't just get disqualified even when you are qualified. It could be that the nomenclature your organization uses doesn't conform to the one that you are applying to. Then you need to basically tailor your role to align to what you are applying to. My current role I'm a strategic information advisor. That is a term that is used within the program I work. In livelihood program, in education program, you cannot see people as strategic information advisor. It's almost impossible. I said almost. It might be possible, but I've never seen. So if I am applying for a job as an M&E director, for example, in a livelihood program, and I say that I'm a strategic information advisor, automatically they will think that my experience is not even M&E related. So you need to be very strategic in that sense so that you are not the one disqualifying yourself from roles. So I hope that helps. Over. Benga, it seems you are on mute.
You are very correct. I was talking to myself. I was talking to myself. I thought I was unmuted. So thank you so much. Thank you, Malik. Thank you for those questions. I'm not sure we have any other question, but I scanned through and I saw that we have giants in the room. Adiola that has a question. She's a very pivotal person from USID all the way from US. Thank you so much. I can see another person raising up his hand. Before that, let me recognize some people on this call. Let me recognize Chika. Chika Biora Okafo is a very strong person from USID World. Welcome to the call. Elliot is a very powerful guy from World Bank. Thank you for joining the call. I also saw Dr. John Ibitoye, the country M&E manager for Catholic Relief Services. Thank you for joining the call. I think at some point I will allow these people to give us one or two perspectives before we close down today's conversation. So Francis the Great, I think you'll be the last person to ask question while I take comments from friends and very senior colleagues. All right. Francis the Great.
All right, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
So my question in regards to just to get a kind of perspective, like when Mr. Abdul Malik was sharing his experience, mentioned something on PMP, that's from PMI, Project Management Institute. So I want maybe if you can just take a little time to just give like just like a brush on the product that I'm going through, but there are a lot of requirements and the like. So if you can just share his process of getting, because from what I'm seeing, it takes a lot to get that PMP and the like. So if you can just share more, a little brief on it. Then secondly, I want to say like I'm someone that is still, like I mentioned, the session that was held last week, which was very which was very insightful, especially from the person in Brussels and the like. So you mentioned a lot of things, making the plan, or making plan of where you are going to and start building your process now. So as someone that have an engineering background, still a student, and there are few of us here too, especially in the engineering field, I want to say like, what are the specific things we should like looking for, like an advice from your end, and also something just like an advice on especially targeting in the area of the energy sector, the mobility, sustainable mobility, and all those things relating to the UN goals and the sustainable development goal. So what are specifics you can say regards to that area, so that will help in shaping one, in making plan towards that. And like I also cited last week, like Mr. Boenga saying one of his listeners I listened to say that you don't have to wait till you get a certain point of graduation. You have to start planning like 2 years before your graduation, 3 years to start making plan where you want to work. So just like a guide in that area. Thank you.
It's great. Those are very insightful questions, which I believe that we'll respond to. But let me speak to the young people that are here, that are probably maybe in the engineering field, and you are thinking of a sector where you want to thrive. I think the first thing you need to do is to have a role model. So there's somebody in your field that you want to become like, or they want to surpass the record. So, and one of the easiest way you can find those profile is to go on LinkedIn. So you can go and look at profile of people that read mechanical engineering. Where are they working? What are they doing? I have a very good friend who read mechanical engineering from Obafemi University. He's in he worked in NMPC. Another one of them worked in Shell, and now works with Total in the US, Austin, Texas. So it depends on where you want to function. So, but while we're in school, I knew those guys and I knew where they were going. They wanted to work in the oil and gas sector, and I'm not surprised that they are in the oil and gas sector as they are now. So the first step is, I think you need to look for a role model or somebody in your career path. I have somebody who initially read material science engineering, eventually became an M&E officer in NGO sector. But as time went on, I think he got a scholarship for a PhD in Canada, and he's now a professor. Yeah, he has now become a professor in the US, a professor of mechanical engineering. But at some point, he pivoted to M&E in the NGO sector, but he didn't stay more than 1 year before he got a scholarship for a full PhD in Canada. From Canada, he became an associate professor, and now he's a professor in the US. So first thing, look for a role model who you want to be like, and then you can understudy those people. How did they become what did they become? What did they study after their engineering first degree? Where did they go? What were the things they did? So if you have a role model and then you understudy them, I think you can replicate the success, because I always believe that success leave clues. It's just like I always tell you, is when they want to teach you mathematics, they give you a formula. They'll give an example, then your own life is the exercise. Because once you're able to apply the formula to the example, the exercise they give you is your life. Then you apply that formula to your life, and then you get the same results like you got with your example. So that's what I can add on people that want to have a clear plan for their future as young professionals. Malik.
Okay, thank you. So, great question. The first one around PMP, just like every other certification, of course, PMP is unique because of the requirements and then the technicalities in the exam itself. So the idea is, before you can even, because you need to apply and get approved before you can register to take the exam. And part of the criteria is you have to be trained. You have to show an evidence that you have been trained before you can sit for the exam. So for me, in-person training works best for me. So I did an in-person training, I did an online training, and I did a sample exam a lot of time. When I did my exam, it was for 4 hours. So I did about 5 sample exams, like 5 times I did took the sample. That means I spent 4 hours every time I took that sample exam, and the main exam also 4 hours. So you need to go through those tests. If you don't take any sample exam, then it's easy for you to just throw away your money in the process. Because some people have never taken 4 hours exam. I think now it's about 3 hours plus. Some people have not taken exam of that length. So they don't have the resilience to take exam for that length. At least I interacted with someone that said she couldn't cope with it. At some point, she got tired, like the fatigue setting, she couldn't continue. So you need to test that you can do that, and then prepare. I took a course, then there was a prep course on LinkedIn. I took the course, LinkedIn Learning. So one thing about premium LinkedIn is beyond the connections, you have access to LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning has hundreds of thousands of courses. Right? So that was my process. Just to add to what Benga said, one thing for me that I've learned is what I want has evolved over time. You know, people talk about childhood dream. Your childhood dream is probably a dream because you were a child. It might not be your adult dream. So learn to evolve. What you love yesterday might not be the same as what you want today. Like few years ago, if you ask me, I would say I want to become a chief of party, country director, blah, blah, blah. Today, as I'm speaking to you, I don't want those things anymore because the things I cherish are evolving over time. I value my sanity more now. I value my time with family. I value going on trips more. So I don't want to become a country director where they are calling me by 12 to approve one travel or whatever. I don't fancy those things because there is more to life than work. Just know that of your life. It's not everything about your life. So you need to also plan whatever you plan. You need to also factor in other areas of your life. You have your spirituality, you have your humanity, you have all the different areas of your life to think about. So you need to be strategic. Somebody talked about the fact that there are professions that are very selfish. And if you like them, good for you, but you might want to avoid those professions. For example, you know that people that are in the military, they can't choose where they want to be for a long time. They can be here today, tomorrow they are posted to another place, right? So you need to be strategic in that sense. Right now, there are people that are called digital nomads, right? It's in the tech programming, people that are forex traders, for example, they can basically be anywhere they want to be. So they have freedom, right? And you need to know, you need to reflect, and learn what you want, what you value. Because if you don't do that, you can chase your career to a point where you are not happy, you are not fulfilled because you have neglected some other things that are important. You also need to pay attention to your health and well-being. So it's very broad, but what you want can evolve over time. But think about the things that are relevant today. Like I mentioned artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, Internet of Things. We are talking about autonomous vehicles and all that. So if you are thinking about things that are too traditional that can be eroded by change in few years' time, you need to think different. You need to think differently, basically. Go and check what people are getting in the AI world. People working for OpenAI, how are things different for them? So basically, work with what is relevant, not just today, but what is going to be relevant in the future. As we speak, in the next coming years, AI is going to evolve more and more and more and put a lot of people out of business. Is that something you want to look at? What is going to be relevant going forward? So you need to be forward you need to be forward looking, forward thinking. Thank you. Over.
Yeah, thank you so much, Malik. Please confirm that my mic is very audible now. Someone did tell me that my voice was low.
Yes, it
Has it come up
is.
now?
It's audible now.
It's audible now. Okay, thank you so
Yes.
much. So thank you so much. Thank you, Malik. Thank you, everyone. Imagine if we didn't have these questions, I'm sure the session would not have been engaging as we have experienced it. So I left a link in the chat box. If you are able to, please kindly leave your feedback on today's sessions um, as a comment on this link. But I would love to call 3 people. Let's just hear them say hi. I want to get impression of about this session. If it met their expectation, what do you think we could have added? And then I know obviously you have something that you have reflected over that we can actually use as a take home. So I think let me start with Adiola Raji. She asked the question. Diola, please you can just unmute in just 1 minute. Tell us about your impression about this conversation. Did it meet your expectation? What do you think is your key take home, or what do you think we can take home?
Okay, thank you so much, Benga and Malik. I mean, when I saw this, I think I saw the link 2 days ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to attend this. And I would say you guys have really done a good job. Like it's really a good one, and I wish we even had more people, especially the younger, I don't want to say younger, people who are still trying to navigate their way in their career. I mean, when I would also love if you can share the link to the recordings so that we can also share to other people who could not make this call. I mean, you guys did a beautiful job, and I would love to also be in the next webinar that you'll be doing anytime soon. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Adiola, and thank you for offering yourself to be a resource person in our next conversation. Let me call. I'm going to call Chika last, but let me call Elliot. Elliot, my very good friend, are you still here? Elliot has gone. Hey, all right, no problem. He doesn't want to share the secret of what back with us. Ibrahim Bashir, you want to say something? Is that a question or what, or you just want to toe the line in which I have, right, Ibrahim?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Benga. I just want to also express my view about the session. It
Excellent.
was really educative and enlightening. I really learned a lot, and over the course of the presentation, I spotted areas where I myself, and I'm determined, to kind of bridge those gaps. Mr. Abdul Malik talked about alignment, what you want and where you are and what you are doing and what you've been doing, if they are aligning. And honestly, I've assessed myself as he was presenting, and I really found areas that if I had aligned, as he said, honestly, I would have been better of where I am, but not really regretting, but I think I can be better when I applied the key messages from this webinar. And I hope it will continue to be like this. To see Dr. K, but I learned that he wasn't able to make it. And then the last thing that I expected to hear, maybe I didn't hear, maybe it was an oversight from my end, is that bridge to a global perspective, just like Mr. Malik was in Nigeria, now he's in Malawi. So crossing to the international space, especially for me that is working in the development world, maybe UNICEF, either UN or non-UN organizations. So working outside the country on a global scale.
All right, thank you
so
so
maybe
much.
didn't talk much on that, but maybe subsequent sessions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ibrahim. Let me also join to appreciate Malik. This has been a stretch for Malik because Malik was not meant to do a major session this evening. It was meant to be Dr. K, but I did take a script for Dr. K. That Dr. K, due to exigence of work that he didn't plan for, he couldn't make to this evening's session. But Malik was able to step in very well. Thank you so much. So I think by the time you watch the video and then reflect over it, Ibrahim, most likely you'll be able to tease together how you can move from local to global. I think that's one of the reason why we did this, to be able to land any kind of job wherever and whoever is calling for that interview. Madam Chika will be the last commenter today, and we will call it a day. And look forward to me sharing with you as long as you're registered, you'll be able to get the link to the recording of today's session. Over to you, Chika.
All right, good evening. Good evening, Dr. Wenga, Malik. In fact, I really enjoyed these sessions. I really want to appreciate you both. I can say that I just opened my eyes to a lot of things, especially in the area of putting yourself out there, using the tools that we have available, the different platforms that we have available to actually put yourself out there. A lot of times we just focus on what we are doing for the now, and we really need to not stay in one. For me, I would say you try to strategize, look inward, also see yourself in a different light, always see yourself evolving, because as you do your day-to-day work, you sometimes you don't really are able to account for all the things that you're able to achieve. But if you try to re-strategize, always take down notes. I just learned that from a colleague of mine. Whatever you do, whatever little thing that you have achieved, just document it somewhere. At the end of 2 months, 3 months, you'll be surprised at all the things that you've been able to do. And that can actually put you in a strategic place to where you would want to be. I heard somebody say, trying to move from one particular, like maybe you're from going local to foreign or international. For me, I look at it as do what you do best wherever you are. It will always take you out there, no matter where. There's the people doing international jobs don't have different heads than you. They don't have they are not built differently. It's doing well what you are doing now can take you wherever you want to be. It's just being strategic. It's just potential inside of you to do whatever you want to. And it brings to mind I think my career path. I never knew I would be into the NGA sector. I started out as an engineer, but I just saw myself out of job for 3 years, and it got me thinking. I cannot just be dependent on this is my education or my qualification. What can I do? How can I better myself? How can I build my capacity? And it is in that that actually opened the doors for me for the NGO sector. And I just believe that you, as you continually build your capacity, if it's that international job, you will get it. If it is what that particular organization needs, your capacity is that what that particular organization needs, no matter where you are, you will definitely get it. So I really appreciate this session. And like every other person has mentioned, I think it's we're good to go in ensuring that have a platform where we can discuss, we can groom ourselves, and we can ensure that the young people coming after us actually have a place to actually tap from the resources that are available currently. Thank you. Over.
Thank you so much for capping up everything. So Ibrahim and the rest. So I didn't want to do this, but Dr. K said it will be available next Thursday. If all of you will be available to attend it, then we can hold it. But if not, we will not hold it. We just drink water on this one that we've done. So Ibrahim, to cap up, I'm not trying to respond again. So if you want to go from local to global, the same way you apply for local job, I think you start applying for global jobs. So those global jobs will tell you the ones that are open to global or international audience. they will tell you the one that are just for the local audiences. So the same way you apply for the local one, search for international opportunities that is open for international applicants, and then apply, and then try out your hand. And before you know it, you'll be able to land a job internationally. Don't stop applying. Continue to apply, and be very focused and look for international opportunities, because it is possible. Like Chika said, they don't have two heads. Probably maybe they just have more information than you, and they will be able to tap into it. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. I believe it has been a value for your time. The 2 hours 16 minutes has not been a waste of time. I hope it has added value to you. And I want to say thank you again to Malik. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so well for taking out the time from a very busy schedule to do this over and over again. And for everyone that stayed from the beginning to the end, we say after 3, it shows that there's something that you guys treasure. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to sharing the recording with you. And I wish you all an amazing maybe it's not long weekend because we go to work tomorrow, and then that'll be weekend on Sunday and Sunday. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye, and see you soon.